Okay, we're at the Wildlife Botanical Gardens that is maintained by a group called Naturescaping. I'm a volunteer here. I'm a master composter recycler, but I also herd our mason bees. This is a mason bee shelter. It keeps the rain off of the tubes that the mason bees use for nesting in. Mason bees are native to the Northwest. They're not like honeybees that were imported, and they don't sting and they don't make honey. They're a solitary bee that is only interested in pollinating. They're about 10 times more effective at pollinating than honeybees are because of the way they gather and carry the nectar and pollen back to the nest. Over the summer, they make little chambers in each one of these tubes. They put the pollen and nectar in those chambers, lay an egg on it. The reason they're called mason bees is they use mud to seal up the chamber. There are other kinds of bees which we get in here all the time, leafcutter bees. We have a chart here which you may or may not be able to see, but there are over 400 kinds of native bees in the Northwest. By August, all of these bees will have died off, all of the live flying around bees that you may see coming and going. And the egg will hatch into an embryo, into a grub which eats the nectar and the pollen. Then it morphs, it builds a cocoon and morphs into a bee and lasts over the winter time. And now we're back here again in the spring. They're emerging and the cycle starts all over again. Okay. From the beginning of April until the end of May, you'll see bees here and then you won't see them anymore. What will be going on then is inside the little chambers, the bees will be, the egg will be turning into a grub, turning into a bee, but you don't see that. So right now, these 2 months, April and May, the beginning of spring, is when you can come and see the bees. They don't sting because they're not protecting their hive like a honeybee does. So you can stand right here and they'll just fly around you and ignore you. Well, kids love it. And you know, the kid in all of us sort of loves it, I think. It's just interesting to see them flying around and to have some idea what they're doing. We also have brochures right here behind me that explains the whole life cycle, and you can take one of those brochures with you. We do sell bee cocoons at our spring bare root tree sale. I sell them 10 cocoons for $15, which is cheaper than what you can buy them on the market, but that money all goes then to maintaining our bees. I have about 3,000 of the cocoons, which I put most of them out here, but I have lots of them for sale too. They're very good pollinators for orchards and flowers, and if you have orchard trees, apples and pears and whatnot, these are the kind of bees that you want to be pollinating your orchards and your flowers and so forth. And they're very easy to raise. You really don't have to do anything for them except build a place or have a place for them to make their nest. And you can have your own set of bees in your own backyard that are pollinating your garden. I have friends that I put bees out in their areas, and they've told me that their fruit trees are doing 10 times better than they were before the bees were out there. So that's why it's important to know what they are and how to help them out. Obviously we have a lot of flowers here, and there is an orchard right behind the building back here behind us, and so they're busy right now pollinating all of these flowers, and they're not doing it for the flower, they're doing it for themselves, but it's a symbiotic relationship. The flowers are putting out the flower with pollen and nectar to draw the bee. The bee then pollinates that flower so that it will have seeds for next year. So it's very important, and it's a very productive area for our garden. It has really helped with the flowering and so forth, and it's very productive for the bees. The gardens are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can walk by here anytime. There are 8 beautiful gardens to walk through, and this is in the very middle of the gardens. You can stop here and watch them coming in and flying around, which they're starting to get very busy doing right now. Pick up a brochure. And I have my email address on there. If you're interested in getting started in having your own set of bees, get a hold of me and we'll help you do that.